Discover the amazing transformation of a disabled girl as a millionaire comes to her rescue after struggles lead to a heartfelt breakthrough. Mia was 12 years old but felt much older, trapped in a body that didn't always obey her commands. Cerebral palsy was her constant companion, making every step a monumental challenge. Living with her single mother Sarah, in a modest home in a small Indiana town, their lives were a series of daily battles. Sarah worked 2 jobs, her hands always busy, her eyes filled with determination yet haunted by exhaustion. Mia saw the effort, the late nights, and the sacrifices her mother made. It tightened the chest of her little heart as she watched Sarah juggle endless tasks, always smiling, never breaking, yet Mia knew the weight of the world rested heavily on their shoulders. Each day, she turned to her painting, vibrant strokes saving her from feeling invisible. But in public, Mia's talent remained a secret. Neighbors often glanced at her with pity rather than admiration, quick to dismiss her bright spirit behind a label of disability. Everything changed one warm evening at the annual community fair. Amid laughter and the smell of cotton candy, Mia set up her booth under bright lights. Her artwork was a burst of color. Oranges, blues, and greens danced joyfully across the canvases. She was nervous, heart racing as people wandered past. Just then, Jack, a newcomer from the city, strolled by with curiosity. An entrepreneur seeking something more, he was immediately drawn in by the raw honesty tearing through each brushstroke. The intensity in Mia's eyes spoke volumes. As he learned about Mia and Sarah's struggle, an emotional conflict twisted inside of him, pulling him between admiration and frustration. How could a town so rich in values overlook talent because of preconceived notions? Jack felt the urge to help blossom within him, whispering that Mia deserved so much more than what life had dealt her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. With Jack's support, Mia began to share her dreams, her voice trembling yet full of hope. For the first time, she felt recognized for her talent. It sparked a change in the whole town. Yet just as things began to elevate, life struck hard. An unexpected setback shattered the fragile bond between Mia and Sarah. Tears blurring her vision, Mia felt the suffocating fear of her dreams unraveling and the potential loss of her mother's unwavering support gnawing at her heart. As the town grappled with its biases, questions about loyalty and love arose. Could they truly embrace Mia for who she was and not just what she struggled with? Moments of hope flickered throughout, but the shadows of doubt loomed large, threatening to eclipse the newfound light. Mia stood in front of her artwork, desperation and desire tangling within her. A powerful moment was near, one that might alter the course of her dreams forever. Would the community rally together, or would fear of the unknown snuff out her artistic fire before it even had a chance to burn bright? As she clutched her mother's hand, the air thick with tension, one thought echoed in her mind: what would it take for their dreams to survive? Mia stared at her canvases, the colors pulsating with every heartbeat. The vibrant swirls of paint reminded her of the dreams she longed to achieve. But now, as tears traced silent paths down her cheeks, the weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on her chest. Just behind her, Sarah's eyes reflected the restlessness Mia felt deep inside. "Mom, what if they don't understand?" It was a question that hung in the air like a thick fog. Sarah squeezed Mia's hand, her own shaking slightly. "They will, sweetheart. You have something special. You just have to believe it." Mia forced a smile, but doubt clawed at her. What if this moment, this opportunity, slipped away? The crowd around her booth was different. They were curious, yes, but how many would see a girl with a disability and turn away? Meanwhile, Jack lingered just beyond her booth, his gaze steady, a mix of optimism and concern flashing in his eyes. He had come to mean so much to her. She craved his belief that she was worthy of the attention, The fair activities erupted with lively cheers, laughter echoing all around. Mia watched the people as they moved from booth to booth, fingers intertwined, voices spilling warmth into the cool evening air. Could they see beyond her condition? They continued to pass by, glancing at her artwork with indifference. Each uninterested look felt like a little jab, making her heart ache more deeply. Then she spotted a group of schoolmates approaching. Mia's breath caught. "Oh no, just be yourself," Sarah urged. "You've got this, Mia." But moments later, the whispers began, their laughter floating above the joyous sounds of the fair. "What is she doing here, with those paintings? Doesn't she need a little help?" They weren't overly harsh, but enough to make Mia's cheeks burn. The weight of their words hung heavily in the air, and Mia's heart plummeted. Jack stepped forward, breaking the suffocating tension like a window opening after a long winter. "Hey! You guys should give her work a chance. My name is Jack, and this girl is an amazing artist." His support felt like a warm hug, wrapping around her just when she needed it most. The schoolmates looked taken aback by Jack's sudden protectiveness, then exchanged confused glances. "Really?" one of them said, begrudgingly crossing over to inspect her paintings. One by one, they stopped, allowing curiosity to shift the conversation. As they examined the art, Mia's throat tightened. She needed to speak, to share why she painted, why art meant everything to her. With trembling hands, she steadied her voice. "I paint to express feelings, to show the world I can be more than my disability." Each word felt liberating, like uncurling a tightly wound ball of yarn. Jack smiled, pride flickering in his eyes. Encouraged, Mia continued, describing how every stroke held a piece of her heart, the struggles and joys mingled together. People began to gather, drawn in not by pity but by the sincerity radiating from her passion. For a moment, fear faded away. The crowd saw her, truly saw her. They leaned in, listening, sharing smiles in return. But just as the tide began to swell in her favor, a sudden shout interrupted the atmosphere. A voice, familiar yet unwelcome, echoed from the edge of the crowd, grabbing everyone's attention. "What were you doing here, Mia? This is for real artists." A chill ran down her spine. The laughter faded. Faces turned, whispers spiraled, and for a moment, Mia felt like she was drowning again in the quiet of rejection. What if this was all a dream, slipping through her fingers like grains of sand? But she could feel Jack's presence beside her, grounding her like an anchor. What would she say? Would this be the moment her dreams either took flight or crashed to the ground? In that moment, everything hinged on one question. Would she find the courage to stand up for herself, to defy the voices shouting doubt? The stakes were higher than ever, her heart pounding in anticipation. What could the crowd make of her now? Mia's heart raced, a drumbeat of both fear and determination. She took a deep breath, the kind that fills your lungs and ignites a fire in your belly. The warmth of Jack's hand on her shoulder still reassured her, but the mocking voice echoed in her mind like a broken record. The crowd held its breath, waiting for her response. "Actually," she started, her voice a little shaky but gaining strength with each word, "art isn't about fitting into a box. It's about expressing what's inside us, and I'm doing just that." She could feel the eyes of her schoolmates narrowing, skepticism still lurking among them. But another part of her, a brighter, bolder part, wanted to push back. "Maybe you can't see my vision, but that doesn't make it less valid," she continued, her voice ringing clearer. "Every stroke of paint is a story, and I'm proud of my stories. They V-shaped who I am." The words tumbled out, igniting the audience's interest. A murmur spread through the crowd. Curiosity sparked in some faces, while others still clung to doubt. Mia locked eyes with Jack, who nodded as if to say, "You've got this." "Look," she continued, gesturing to her work, "I paint about hope. I paint to overcome. Each piece is born from the fight I face every day." As she spoke, her intensity grew, drowning out the nagging worries that whispered in her ear. Someone from the crowd chimed in, "But what about technique? Does it even count?" That familiar voice jerked Mia back momentarily. "What matters is emotion," she said, her courage igniting. "When you look at my art, I want you to feel something: joy, sadness, understanding. That's what real art is." The crowd fell silent for a heartbeat, digesting her words. Then, one girl stepped forward, a hint of admiration shining through her skepticism. I didn't know you felt that way. It's actually kind of beautiful. Mia felt relief wash over her, inspiring others to voice their appreciation. Yeah. The colors are vibrant and alive. Another added, and slowly more voices joined in, weaving together compliments and applause. The voice from before erupted with anger. You're only getting attention because Jack is standing up for you. Maybe, Mia replied, feeling the strength in her voice grow, but that doesn't change what I've created. If you want to dismiss me, then that's your choice. But I wouldn't trade this moment for anything. Mia turned back to the paintings she'd created. She saw not just colors but emotions, stories, and a reflection of her own struggles. That was her power, and it was undeniable. The winds of change blew through the crowd. People began to shift, captivated by her renewed spirit. Laughter and conversation resumed, but this time with Mia at the heart of it. Jack remained by her side, a shield against the negativity, yet she felt empowered in ways she never imagined. A few schoolmates even approached her work again, their laughter turned into genuine curiosity. One reached out a hand to touch the canvas, eyes wide. Can you teach me how to feel it like you do? Mia beamed. I can teach you how to express it, but you have to find the feelings first. As the evening painted itself in deep oranges and fading purples, Mia felt lighter, buoyed by the warmth of acceptance. Her heart swelled with hope, breathing new life into her dreams. But just then, a flash of commotion at the side caught her attention. A tall figure, unmistakably familiar, approached with purpose, and the tension seemed to thicken again. Mia! The voice called, breaking through the crowd. The joy of the moment collided with a swell of anxiety. Could he really be here for her? Would this be another twist in her story? Mia's heart raced as she turned to face the newcomer. What was about to unfold? Would this moment solidify her courage, or would it introduce a new challenge altogether? Mia turned slowly, her heartbeat echoing in her ears like thunder. The figure that emerged from the shadows was none other than Ethan, her childhood friend. He stood tall, a subtle mix of confidence and vulnerability radiating from him. His usual smile was replaced with a look that Mia couldn't quite read. Mia! He shouted again, making his way through the crowd. The chatter around her dulled to a whisper as he approached, all eyes shifting between Mia and Ethan. It felt surreal, like the entire world had paused to witness this moment. What's going on? Jack asked, concern etching his face. He stepped closer, ready to defend, but Mia raised her hand gently, signaling him to wait. Ethan? She said, her voice barely a whisper. She hadn't seen him in ages, not since he moved to a different town last summer. They used to spend hours dreaming together, sketching in their shared art notebooks. Memories flooded back, both sweet and bitter. Ethan stopped in front of her, his gaze intense. I heard about your art show and well, I had to see it for myself. I'm really proud of you. His words, sincere and heartfelt, resonated deeply with Mia. But there was something else behind his eyes, a hint of urgency. Before she could respond, he glanced at the crowd. I know this might not be the best time, but I need to talk to you alone. The weight of those words sent a ripple of confusion through Mia. What could he possibly want to discuss? The crowd buzzed with speculation. Jack's expression tightened. What does he want, Mia? It's okay, she assured him, her heart fluttering with both excitement and apprehension. She stepped away from the thrumming energy of the gathering and beckoned Ethan to follow her. They walked toward a quieter corner, just beyond the bright lights and heated discussions about her art. The air felt different here, heavy with unsaid words and unresolved feelings. I didn't know you'd be coming, Mia said, her courage faltering. I wasn't sure I'd make it, Ethan replied, his eyes dropping to the ground, then lifting to meet hers again. But I had to find you. I have something important to tell you. Mia felt a wave of anticipation wash over her. Could it be related to her art? Or something more personal? The shadows of their past loomed between them, reminding her of the friendship that had faded but never died. I've been working on a project, he continued, hesitating slightly. I found a way to promote artists like you, people who create amazing things but don't always get the recognition they deserve. I want to help you." His words stumbled out, filled with both passion and an undercurrent of fear. Her heart skipped. "Help me? How?" "I believe in your art, Mia. I think it deserves a wider audience. I've met a few investors who are keen to support emerging artists. They want to see your work." The sincerity in his voice was electric, igniting something deep within her. Mia's mind raced. This could be what she had dreamed of, the opportunity she had long wished for. Yet doubt suddenly crept in. Why would they be interested in my work? There are way more talented artists out there. "Don't underestimate yourself," Ethan insisted, stepping closer. "Your art is about something real. People connect with that." The weight of his words wrapped around her heart, squeezing tightly. Was he really serious? She could feel the seeds of hope beginning to sprout. But before she could respond, a wave of shadows drifted across her, disrupting the moment. A familiar voice snapped her back to reality. "Aren't you just a little artist trying to catch a break?" It was the same person who had mocked her earlier. The air thickened again, a mix of excitement and dread swirling inside Mia. Would she let this chance slip away due to someone else's negativity, or stand her ground? Mia took a deep breath, the moment shimmering with promise. "Ethan, wait." Jack's worried gaze lingered in the background, full of questions. Mia's heart raced once more. She could feel the tug of determination igniting inside her, ready to embrace whatever came next. With a mix of resolve and uncertainty, Mia turned towards the crowd, feeling the weight of her own potential. What would she decide? Would she step into the uncertain brightness of opportunity, or retreat into the shadows of self-doubt? The tension held the air taut, as thick as the uncertainty in Mia's heart. And she knew the next choice she made could change everything. Would it be the breakthrough she had been waiting for, or the moment she faltered? Mia could feel the weight of the world pressing down on her chest. The crowd's murmur faded, but the taunting words of her adversary lingered in the air like a bitter aftertaste. "Aren't you just a little artist trying to catch a break?" The laughter she had faced before echoed ominously in the back of her mind. She took a shaky breath, grounding herself in the knowledge of what she had achieved, yet uncertainties tugged at her heart. "I believe in your art." Ethan's voice broke through, sharp and clear. His eyes were fixed on her, holding a conviction that was both comforting and challenging. Mia locked onto that sincerity, remembering those endless afternoons sketching together, sharing dreams and fears. She wanted to reach back into those memories for strength. "Do you really think they'd be interested in my work?" Mia asked, vulnerability creeping through her words. "What if they just see me as another wannabe artist?" "It's not about them," he replied, his tone earnest, his closeness igniting a warmth within her. "It's about you and your passion. Artists like you, who express real emotions, have stories worth telling. Don't let anyone else's negativity dictate your worth. You've come so far, don't let one voice drown that out." Mia's heart began to race, her doubts vying for attention, but she pushed them away. Deep down, she knew this was a pivotal moment. She could choose to run away and hide or step into the light and let her truth shine. "Just show me," she said, her voice firmer now. "If they want to see my work, then let them. But if I'm going to do this, I need to do it on my terms." Ethan smiled, relief washing over his face like a tide. "That's the spirit. I'll help you prepare. Together, we can make a presentation that showcases everything you've done. Your vision, your heart will put it all out there." But as hope bloomed in her chest, the mocking voice slithered back into her mind. "Will it really be enough?" Before she could ponder further, Jack stepped up, concern written all over his face. "Mia, are you sure about this? It's a huge leap. You don't have to prove anything to anyone." "I'm tired of being afraid," Mia confessed, her voice steady as she looked at Jack. "This is my moment. It's time for me to show everyone my passion, even if I stumble along the way." Jack met her gaze, his expression softening, a mixture of pride and protection. "I just don't want you to get hurt." "Neither do I," she replied, squeezing his hand, grateful for his support. But I can't keep hiding. I want to make a difference, not just for myself but for others who feel invisible. Then let us do this, Ethan said, his voice puncturing the thick atmosphere with a burst of commitment. We'll make sure your voice is heard. As they all stood there, a small flicker of hope turned into a raging fire within Mia. She was ready to face the crowd, ready to chase her dreams past the taunts, past the self-doubt. But just as a wave of determination washed over her, she noticed a shadow lurking at the edge of the crowd, someone watching with an almost predatory look. It was someone Mia had known well from their art classes years ago, someone who had never offered kindness. She felt a shiver run down her spine. What could this person's presence mean? Was she about to face another round of humiliation? Butterflies danced around in her stomach as she took a step forward, ready to embrace the challenge before her. The crowd was waiting, and so were her dreams. Could she gather enough courage to stand on that stage, to let her art shine? Would she find the strength within herself to transform those doubts into a powerful message of resilience? The answers were waiting just beyond the gathering shadows. Mia's heart raced, each beat echoing the uncertainty swirling in her mind. She could almost feel those piercing eyes following her, searching for her weaknesses. But the warmth of Ethan's hand and Jack's unwavering support anchored her, a reminder that she wasn't alone in this battle. As she stepped closer to the makeshift stage, the crowd's chatter swelled, a mix of curiosity and skepticism. The spotlight felt blinding, yet she sought solace in the faces ahead. Some looked confused, others indifferent. A small flicker of confidence ignited within her. This was it, her moment. Ladies and gentlemen, a voice boomed from the microphone, silencing the crowd. We have a special presentation today from a budding artist who has poured her heart and soul into her work. Here's Mia. The applause was scattered, uncertain. Mia could feel the weight of expectation pressing down as she approached the front, forcing herself to breathe steadily. The shadowy figure from her past still lingered on the fringes of her sight. Thank you for being here, she started, her voice wavering but gradually gaining strength. Art, it's more than just colors on a canvas. It's a feeling, an expression of everything we go through, the good, the bad, and everything in between. She paused, allowing her eyes to scan the crowd. There was no turning back now. Each piece I'll show you is a chapter of my life. I've faced doubts, rejection, and times when I didn't believe in myself. But I found hope in my art, in the stories woven into every stroke. Ethan nodded from the side, giving her an encouraging smile. Jack, too, looked on, a mix of pride and concern etched on his face. Mia felt a rush of gratitude for them. It was time to reveal her truth. As she unveiled the first piece, a vibrant landscape painted during her most challenging days, she felt the familiar thrill. This represents the struggle I faced finding my place in a world that often overlooks people like me, she explained, her passion shining through. Every color reflects a feeling, a memory. They're not just paintings, they're my voice. Gradually, interest brewed within the crowd. She could see people leaning in, perhaps even beginning to understand. But then she glanced back at the figure. It was Rachel, her old classmate, whose cutting remarks had lingered in Mia's mind since school. That contemptuous smirk reminded her of the years filled with doubt. Would Rachel expose her vulnerabilities tonight? Taking a shaky breath, Mia pressed on, her voice steady. This next piece is about hope. It symbolizes resilience. No matter how many times you fall, there is beauty in rising again. She pulled the sheet away to reveal a piece that pulsated with fiery reds and soft golds, depicting the sun breaking through dark clouds. Silence enveloped them, and as she spoke, words flowed freely. Each piece became an embodiment of pain transformed into strength, and the crowd began to react, shifting from skepticism to fascination. She caught snippets of whispers, caught the glimpse of curiosity in someone's eyes. Could it be they were beginning to see her? But as she concluded, she couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that Rachel would strike. Just as the applause began to swell, Rachel stepped forward, her face unreadable. So, Mia, what makes you think your art is worth showing? Isn't it all just a fancy hobby? The crowd turned, and Mia's heart plummeted. The fear of ridicule surged through her veins. Suddenly, all that courage felt like a fragile illusion. But it was Ethan's voice that cut through the tension. It takes real bravery to share your truth. Mia, keep going. Time stood still as Mia caught her breath, the whisper of doubt battling the burgeoning resolve within her. What would she say? Would she let Rachel take her moment, just like they used to back in art school? Mia opened her mouth to respond, the heat of the moment igniting something primal within. Would she stay quiet, or could she finally reclaim her voice? The answer hovered in the air, waiting to be spoken. Mia felt the weight of eyes on her, all those curious faces watching her grapple with Rachel's barb. Part of her wanted to retreat, to hide behind the safety of silence, but the other part burned with the need to speak her truth. Taking a deep breath, she locked her gaze with Rachel's, refusing to let the old insecurities flood back. Art isn't just a hobby for me, she declared, her voice firm and steady. It's a lifeline. The subtle shift in the crowd's energy caught her attention. A small murmur ran through them, a wave of curiosity replacing skepticism. Ethan's proud smile nudged her forward. Every brushstroke carries my story. Each piece you see reflects years of struggle, pain, and ultimately, hope. I've battled doubt not just from others, but from within myself. Rachel's smirk faltered a fraction, and that tiny moment of doubt ignited something wild in Mia. If you see art as merely a fancy hobby, I ask you to look deeper. Look past the surface. She continued, her voice gaining volume. Because what I hope to share is more than just color, it's about being seen, being heard, and finding strength in vulnerability. The applause from the crowd erupted, louder this time, filled with a mix of surprise and admiration. They weren't just watching an artist anymore, they were witnessing a transformation. Mia unveiled the next piece, her heartbeat sinking with every clap, every shout of encouragement. This was created during a time when I almost gave up, she said, revealing a swirling canvas of dark blues and broken whites, symbolizing the fear of being overlooked. But like the phoenix, I rose from the ashes. Her words poured out, weaving a tapestry of her life struggles while capturing the audience's attention. She spoke of long nights alone in her studio, the moments when she had questioned her worth, but also the magic she felt when colors blended to form something beautiful. The crowd was rapt, hanging on to every word. It felt like a tidal wave of support crashing into her. Mia moved on to the final piece, a breathtaking representation of unity, warmth, and acceptance. She told them how it was inspired by the people who stood by her, like Ethan and Jack, who had never wavered even when she doubted herself. But as her voice flowed effortlessly, she caught Rachel's gaze once again. The confidence in Mia's words seemed to harden Rachel's facade. You really think you can change anything? Rachel spat, her voice tinged with a mix of anger and jealousy. It's just paint and canvas. Art won't save you. Mia felt a shiver, the air thick with tension. But instead of shrinking, she stood taller. Maybe it won't save me, she replied, a quiet fire igniting. But it has saved others. It has brought people together, ignited conversations, and given people the courage to express their truth. Who is to say what art can or cannot do? The audience erupted into applause again. This time it felt different, unapologetic. Jack whooped from the back, and Ethan's eyes sparkled with pride. Rachel flinched, her confidence crumbling under the weight of Mia's words, and for a moment, vulnerability flickered across her face. Mia seized that moment, a deep breath fueling her resolve. Art is worth showing because it is about connection, and tonight we are all connected. As the crowd cheered, Mia felt the tide of fear recede, leaving behind the thrill of empowerment. She had spoken her truth. But just as she began to smile, she glanced at Rachel, who stood frozen, the smirk erased. A chill ran down Mia's spine. Did Rachel have more to say? The lights shifted, and Mia felt a storm brewing just beneath the surface of the evening's success. What would Rachel reveal next? Mia could feel the crowd's anticipation, a charged silence hanging in the air. Rachel's eyes intensified, her posture shifting into something fierce. The confidence Mia had just ignited in herself felt fragile now, a delicate flower battling against a sudden gust of wind. What is it, Rachel? Were you hoping for a show of weakness? Mia's voice was bolder than she felt, a spectacle all its own. Behind her, the audience shifted, snatching eager glances between the two women, electric energy swirling around the room. Rachel took a slow step forward, the shadows curling around her like a comforting cloak. You think you've got it all figured out, huh? Just because you've spoken to a crowd doesn't mean you've touched their souls. You're just a girl with paint, she lashed out, her eyes glimmering with something akin to envy. What do you really know about pain? The question struck like a whip, and for a brief moment, Mia faltered. Was she ready to open that wound? She could feel the shackles of doubt tighten around her heart. But then she remembered the warmth of acceptance that had washed over her moments ago, the very essence of the art she so cherished. I know more than you think, Mia replied, her voice steadier now. I know what it means to fight for every brush stroke when the world says you're not enough. I see how art has the power to heal, to connect. The roots of it run deep in every struggle, every scar. A hushed murmur broke through the crowd, a collective inhale that hinted at the tension thickening in the air. Ethan's familiar, reassuring gaze was locked firmly on her, urging her on. It was as if he were saying, "You've got this, Mia." Rachel crossed her arms, clearly uncomfortable. And what about those who've been abandoned, Mia? What do you feel for those who can't paint their pain away? The question landed heavily. The depth of it tugged at Mia's heart. She hesitated, grasping for a way to respond that balanced truth and compassion. It's our responsibility to be their voice, to share their stories. Music, dance, painting, we all have our methods. But art has a way of reaching hearts in places even words can't go. For a moment, Rachel looked taken aback, a flicker of uncertainty dancing behind her narrowed eyes. The crack in her armor was subtle, but it was there. Mia pressed on, encouraged by the audience's unwavering support. We can shed light on those living in the shadows. If I have the power to bring hope to even one person, I will keep painting. That's my truth. The clapping from the back row morphed into chants of Mia. Mia! That began to swell through the crowd. There was an undeniable energy surging, filling every corner of the room with a shared sense of purpose. But Rachel was not ready to back down. Can art really change anything? You think your paintings can save this world? Her voice dripped with sarcasm, yet the tremor threatened to betray her bravado. I believe it can, Mia responded, each word laced with conviction. Change doesn't always look like a hurricane. Sometimes it's a single drop of rain, softly touching the ground, bringing life after a drought. Now the clapping turned into an eruption of cheers, the crowd vibrating with connection. Mia's chest swelled with pride and hope. Yet still, a knot of anxiety twisted deep within her. Tension hung in the air, and she wondered if Rachel's last words would unleash something deeper and darker. Suddenly, Rachel smirked once more, but it was colder. You're naive, Mia. And I'll show you just how vulnerable you really are. The room froze. The edge in Rachel's voice rang loud and clear. Whatever she had brewing would not come easily. The cheers faded, replaced by the thrum of uncertainty. Mia's heart raced. What was Rachel planning? The storm was only just beginning. The air felt thick, like a storm cloud ready to burst. Mia stood tall, yet her insides fluttered wildly. Rachel's icy demeanor made it clear this wasn't just a verbal spar anymore. It was a battle with stakes that soared higher than either of them could predict. What do you mean? Mia asked, the words escaping her lips before she could think twice. The crowd buzzed with murmurs. Excitement turned to apprehension, hanging between them like the sharp edge of a knife. Rachel stepped forward, her lips curling into a bemused smile. Let us test your theory, shall we? Let us see how your precious art holds up against real pain. The crowd shifted, eyes darting between the two women, each heartbeat echoing louder than the last. Mia's face paled. What do you want to do, Rachel? Rachel nodded toward the side of the stage where a large canvas sat waiting, white and pristine. Paint your truth with your eyes wide open, Mia. Show us the darkness that lurks beneath your pretty surface. What's really haunting you? The challenge felt like a wave crashing over her. Mia froze, the thrill of the crowd now mixed with an icy fear. How could she expose her vulnerabilities in such a raw and public way? Memories flooded her mind, moments of insecurity, loneliness, heartache. The paint brushed over those memories felt lighter than the burden in her chest. "I wouldn't let you bait me into a corner," Mia declared, all the bravado she could muster coating her voice. Yet doubt crept in, gnawing at her resolve. She could feel the eyes of the crowd like arrows, scrutinizing her every moment. What if Rachel was right? What about the people who don't have a voice, Mia? Rachel urged, her voice dripping with false sweetness. What do you say to them? What colors will you choose for their pain? Mia's breath hitched. All at once, she realized Rachel wasn't just trying to undermine her. This was Rachel's own struggle against her self-doubt. Beneath that fierce exterior, the pressure to prove herself weighed heavily. Maybe in this twisted exchange, they both were seeking validation. Mia's fingers tingled as she walked toward the canvas, her heart drum beating a frantic rhythm. For every story told, there's pain that lies behind it. But I won't be ashamed of mine. She picked up the brush, her hand trembling slightly. Rachel's expression tightened, revealing flickers of frustration. Then show us. Let the world see what you're made of. With each stroke, a wave of emotions rushed through Mia. Bright colors collided, dark shades spiraled around them. The canvas came to life, chaos gave birth to beauty, storms turned into vibrant sunsets, all while ribbons of sorrow danced alongside hope. She painted not just for herself but for all the unheard voices, for every story that deserved to be seen and felt. The crowd was utterly still, mesmerized. Even Rachel stared, a look of disbelief marring her features. Mia felt liberating energy pulsing through her as tears began to fall, tears of resilience, of healing, of recognition. But just as the final brush strokes sliced through the air, a loud crash came from behind her. In an instant, the room shifted from captivated silence to shocked gasps. Mia turned, her eyes widening as she saw a figure stumbling in the entrance, the very fabric of the moment threatening to unravel. Could this sudden chaos reshape everything she fought to express? The storm had not calmed, it had transformed. And as she stood amidst the wreckage, Mia realized that her fight was far from over. Mia blinked, her heart racing at the sudden entrance of the figure. A shout rose above the crowd, and there was Ethan, breathless and wide-eyed. "Mia! You need to listen!" His voice cut through the tense atmosphere like a knife. Every head turned as confusion spread like ripples through the crowd. Mia felt a surge of concern wash over her. What is it? She could hear her own heartbeat drumming in her ears. Ethan took a step closer, his intensity breaking through the chaos. "It's your mom. There was an accident." Time felt like it froze, the world around her blurring at the edges. Her legs nearly buckled beneath her. What? The panic surged violently in her chest. Relax, she's okay, but she's in the hospital. I just came from there. They need you. His eyes shone with urgency, each syllable pressing down on her. Mia's breath quickened, the weight of his words lay heavy like a storm cloud. Her thoughts darted back to Sarah. Could she really be hurt? In the midst of her moment, everything she fought for now felt insignificant compared to her mother's welfare. I need to go. I need to see her, Mia said, her voice trembling. But fear gripped her heart, entangling her in uncertainty. The crowd started murmuring again, shifting like waves under a relentless tide. Jack's voice cut through the disarray. I'll take you, Mia. Let us go. He stepped forward, a rock of support, his features resolute. Without a second thought, Mia took Jack's hand. The warmth of his grip was solid against the drumming of her heart. She stole one last glance at the canvas, the colors swirling with her unspoken emotions, the voices of her art lingering behind. I'll be back, she promised her artwork, a silent vow swirling in her heart. As she moved through the crowd, the path felt heavy beneath her feet. Yet, surrounded by these chaotic threads of uncertainty, her determination flickered to life again. The hospital's antiseptic smell greeted her like a wall of reality. The stark white walls felt daunting, but with Jack beside her, she pressed on. They entered Sarah's room, and there she was, bandaged and frail, but smiling faintly as Mia stepped forward. Mom! Tears surged in Mia's eyes as she rushed to her mother's side. The world outside melted away. Sarah looked weary, but the familiar light still glimmered in her eyes. For a moment Mia's heart slowed. "What happened?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Oh, just a little tumble," Sarah chuckled weakly, brushing it off, but it didn't ease Mia's concern. "Can't keep me down for long, you know that." But inside, Mia felt the weight of worry start to lift, soothed by her mother's resilience. "You scared me," she breathed, emotions spilling out in a rush. "I just didn't want to miss your show." "You're too talented to let anything stop you," Sarah replied, her voice strong even while resting in bed. A fierce spark ignited inside Mia. Jack moved closer, sensing the bond between mother and daughter. "You need to focus on healing, Sarah. We'll make sure Mia's art shines," he said with a supportive nod. Mia felt a rush of gratitude for Jack's unwavering support. It anchored her, wrapping her in a cocoon of strength, and then, a glimmer of understanding washed over Mia. "I talked about my art, Mom. I showed them how it connects with us, how it's all about struggles and strength." Sorrow and pride braided within her, and she realized something monumental. "Even in darkness, there's always light," she whispered, as the two women shared a knowing look of understanding. "And we can create that light together." Sarah smiled, her expression bright and proud. "Exactly, sweet pea. You have a gift, and I'm so proud of the voice you're finding." Mia paused, the sudden clarity swelling in her heart. She turned to Jack, who watched her with those steady, encouraging eyes. Her journey wasn't just about her. It was about community, family, the webs of connection that stretched beyond her canvas. After a few moments shared together, she knew what she had to do. "Mom, I want to go back. I need to finish my presentation. I didn't just find my voice for myself, it's for everyone who needs to be heard." "Go," Sarah encouraged, her smile urging her forward. "I'll be right here, cheering for you." With Jack by her side and the fire of determination fueling her spirit, Mia found herself running back toward the fair, her heart pounding with renewed hope. This was it, her moment. The community awaited her story, and she was ready to share it all. As she reached the fairgrounds, the lights twinkled like 1,000 stars, casting a welcoming glow. The crowd's voices hummed with anticipation as she stood before them once more. This time, she felt different. "Listen up, everyone!" Mia called, her voice clear and ringing. She stepped onto the stage, and all eyes turned toward her. The energy shifted, electric and alive. "I learned something crucial tonight." She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. "I realized that pain doesn't have to define us, it can drive us. Just like my journey, we all have stories who deserve to be shared. We can uplift each other through art, through expression, through love." With those words, she unveiled her final pieces, each canvas glowing brighter than the last, reflecting joy, strength, and resilience. The crowd leaned in, captivated by the unyielding spirit shining through Mia's art. She poured out her heart, sharing stories that echoed not only her pain but the struggles of the unseen. And as she painted, she felt the darkness lifting, replaced with bright colors of hope and connection. The crowd erupted with applause, not out of pity but from true appreciation for her courage. Mia's heart swelled with joy as she caught Jack's eye toward the back of the crowd, his pride illuminating the room. Even Rachel stood, grappling with confusion and admiration mixed together, the barriers slowly crumbling. That night, Mia discovered she was not just a girl with a disability or labels thrown upon her. She was an artist, one who could inspire change, ignite hope, and connect the hearts of many. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and applause, Mia understood the truth. In sharing their stories, they could all uplift each other one brushstroke at a time. And as the final cheers echoed around her, she made a silent promise to herself to never stop speaking her truth, to never shy away from the colors of life, and to always embrace the light. With a radiant smile stretching across her face, she breathed deeply, ready to soar into her next chapter. This was only just the beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.